This video is part of a series of short videos that each highlight a different strategy that can be used when verifying trig identities and an example of how it is used. Our strategy in this video is going to be rewriting all the terms in terms of sine and cosine. The identity shown is one that we'll prove by using this strategy. In addition to knowing that rewriting in terms of sine and cosine is a strategy, it's also important to know when to use this. And in fact, this strategy is coming first because it turns out it's a great first step in most problems. So here's an example. Your directions for every verifying a trig identity problem will say, verify the identity by showing that the left side is equal to the right side. So, in other words, I have an equation shown and I want to show that the two sides are equal. For the sake of organization, we're always going to start on the left side and using valid algebra and identities show that we can turn the left side into the right side. For this problem, we'll start with the strategy of rewriting everything in terms of sine and cosine. As I mentioned, when you have terms that aren't in terms of sine and cosine, this is often a very good first step. So here's what I did. I started with my left side, cosecant times cosine, and I just rewrote that again underneath the problem for my work. Then I said, well, cosecant is not written in terms of sine and cosine, so I used the reciprocal identity and said, instead of cosecant, I'm going to write 1 over sine. And then cosine is already cosine, so I just wrote cosine. And then I wrote cosine over 1 because the 1 over sine was a fraction, so I wanted to know what the top and bottom was for cosine as well. Then, in my line that is 1 over sine times cosine over 1, I simply multiplied across. 1 times cosine is cosine, sine times 1 is sine, to get my second line, cosine over sine. And finally, since I have cosine over sine, I know that that is the identity for cotangent. So in my third line, I said equals cotangent, and now I'm done because I verified that cosecant times cosine equals cotangent. The important takeaway from this is that sine and cosine provide a link among all 6 of the trig functions. It gives you ways to combine and simplify them, cancel things out, etc. So if you're not sure what to do, this is a great first step. Always keep this strategy in mind as you are trying to verify identities.